In the quiet spaces of your life, there are three things you already possess that are far more than enough: your breath, your awareness, and your capacity to love. These are not given by the world, and the world cannot take them away. The breath is your anchor. With every inhale and exhale, it brings you back to this moment, reminding you that now is all there is. When your thoughts drift into past regrets or future anxieties, return to your breath and find stillness. Your awareness is the gentle light that illuminates every experience, allowing you to witness rather than react, to observe without judgment. It is your constant companion, quietly offering insight and peace if you are willing to listen. And your capacity to love, perhaps the most overlooked of your riches, is always available, even when you feel depleted. Love does not demand. It simply gives. It is found in presence, in listening, in small acts of kindness toward yourself and others. These three gifts form the foundation of a life rooted in enoughness. In a world that endlessly encourages you to chase, accumulate, and strive, Zen invites you to stop, look within, and recognize that what you seek is already here. You do not need more time, more achievement, or more validation. You only need to breathe, to be aware, and to love. Let this awareness transform how you meet each day, not with striving, but with gratitude. When you wake up, let your first breath remind you that you are alive. When you encounter challenge, let your awareness soften your reaction. When you feel lost, let love guide your next step. These are not abstract ideals. They are living truths, always within reach. When you believe you lack, return to these essentials. When you feel overwhelmed, simplify until only breath, awareness, and love remain. In this simplicity, you will find clarity. In this presence, you will find peace. You already have everything you need to live fully and beautifully right now. And as we sit with the truth that breath, awareness, and love are enough, we begin to untangle the noise that tells us otherwise. The noise of comparison that says we must look, live, or achieve like someone else. The noise of urgency that insists we are always behind. But when we return to breath, we return to life. Not a life of doing, but a life of being. The breath is not anxious. It doesn't rush or strive. It simply flows. And when you align with your breath, you align with the rhythm of the universe itself. Inhale and receive the gift of life. Exhale and release all that does not serve. You are not behind. You are here. With each breath, you become more grounded in now. And now is where everything begins. Your awareness, too, is a doorway. When you are aware, even mundane things become sacred. Washing a dish is not a chore. It is a moment of presence. Walking is not just movement. It is meditation in motion. Speaking becomes more than words. It becomes an offering of truth. The more you return to awareness, the more you remember who you really are. Not your roles, not your fears, not your past. You are the one who sees, who knows, who feels deeply. Awareness allows you to move through pain without becoming it. It makes space between stimulus and response, so you can choose peace instead of reaction. And then there is love, not the love shaped by conditions or transactions, but the love that arises simply because you are alive and connected. This kind of love is quiet and powerful. It's the soft gaze toward a struggling friend, the way you place your hand over your heart when you're hurting, the gentleness in how you speak to yourself when no one else is listening. You already have this love. It lives in your breath. It moves through your awareness. It doesn't need to be earned. It doesn't need to be deserved. It only needs to be remembered. And remembering is the practice of Zen. not striving for what you do not have, but waking up to what has always been with you. These three gifts, breath, awareness, love, are your sacred inheritance. You were born with them. They will stay with you your entire life. They are not waiting at the end of some journey. They are here now. You do not need to become anything else. You only need to come home to yourself. And when you do, the search ends. The noise quiets. The enoughness that was always true becomes visible, like the moon that reveals itself when the clouds drift away. You may still have goals. You may still have wounds. Life will still rise and fall. But you will no longer believe the lie that you are not already whole. The breath will carry you. Awareness will guide you. Love will restore you. And this is more than enough. And as you rest in this knowing, something deep within begins to soften. The striving lessens. The tension in your chest releases. You are no longer in a hurry to fix or achieve, to reach some imagined version of peace that exists only in the future. You begin to understand that peace has never been far away. It has simply been covered by layers of belief, distraction, and noise. Each time you return to breath, to awareness, to love, you peel back another layer. You drop another weight. You begin to travel light. In this lightness, there is clarity. You see that many of the things you once chased were never truly yours to begin with. They were borrowed dreams, inherited fears, silent agreements with a world that never stopped to ask who you really are. But now you ask. Now you listen. Now you remember that you were not made to live in a constant state of proving. You were made to be still, to feel, to witness, to offer the gift of your full presence to this fleeting, beautiful life. The breath teaches you this. Inhale, and you receive. Exhale, and you let go. You do not need to hold your breath to be worthy. You do not need to control each moment. All you must do is return. Return again and again. Return when you forget. Return when it hurts. Return when the noise is loud. Return when the silence feels too vast. The path is always here, in this moment, in this breath. And so is your awareness, silent, wide, non-judging. It sees your longing, your joy, your fear, your confusion, and it doesn't turn away. It holds it all like a vast sky, holds every cloud and ray of sun. It says, yes, this too belongs. Awareness does not need you to be perfect. It only asks that you show up, that you look directly at your experience without needing to change it or run from it. Because in that looking, something magical happens. You begin to see clearly. You begin to untangle the illusion that your worth is tied to performance. You begin to stop outsourcing your peace. You begin to come home. And within this home, there is love. A love that doesn't need conditions. A love that does not ask for achievement. This love is not loud, but it is steady. It is the voice that whispers, rest. It is the hand you place on your heart when tears fall. It is the compassion you extend to your own tired spirit when you cannot go any further. This love says, you are already enough. You have always been enough. And the more you remember this, the more you are able to give love freely, not from obligation, not to earn something in return, but because you are so full, so rooted in your own being, that love spills out naturally, like a full cup overflowing. When you live from this place, everything changes. The world may still be chaotic. The noise may still exist. But you are no longer lost in it. You become like the calm eye of the storm, steady and serene, holding space for whatever arises without being consumed by it. This is the fruit of the practice, not to escape life, but to meet it fully, anchored in what is real. And what is real the breath, awareness, love. These are not small things. These are everything. And you already have them. You do not need a better version of yourself. You do not need to collect more experiences or become more spiritual. You need only to return to what has always been true. In Zen, we say, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. Nothing changes, and yet everything does, because when you are present, even the simplest act becomes holy. Even washing the dishes becomes a meditation. Even sitting in traffic becomes a chance to breathe. Even sorrow becomes a portal to depth. When you stop seeking life to be different and begin accepting what is, you touch a kind of freedom that cannot be bought or taught. It can only be remembered. And so, each day becomes the practice, not to accumulate more, but to let go of what you never needed, not to become someone else, but to become more fully yourself, the self that breathes, the self that is aware, the self that loves. This is not the self you show to the world. This is the self that exists when the world goes quiet. This is the self that was there when you were born and will remain when all your roles and identities fall away. When you live from this place, life no longer feels like a race. It feels like a song, a slow, steady song of waking up again and again to what is, a song of gratitude for the simple things, a warm sunbeam on your skin, the sound of laughter, the smell of rain, the beating of your own heart. You begin to see that simplicity is not a lack. It is a profound presence. The less you carry, the more you feel. The less you chase, the more you arrive. The less you fear, the more you open. And in this openness, life flows, not as something to be conquered, but as something to be danced with. So pause now. Take a breath. Feel the fullness of this moment. Let go of needing more. And as you continue to settle into this awareness, a quiet truth begins to emerge, not through thinking, but through being. You realize that much of the noise you've been trying to escape comes not from the world, but from the inner resistance to the present moment. That resistance takes many forms: comparison, judgment, worry, regret. But all of them share one thing in common. They distract you from what is already here. And yet, even your distractions are not wrong. They are invitations. They are the ways your heart calls out for stillness. And now, as you turn inward with compassion, instead of critique, you start to listen more deeply. You hear the soft but steady rhythm of your breath. You notice how your body supports you, without asking for praise. You begin to see that within you lives something untouched by chaos, something steady, sacred, and serene. This is what Zen calls your true nature. It cannot be damaged by failure. It cannot be lost in uncertainty. It cannot be earned through effort, because it was never absent. And so we return to the three things you already have that are enough: your breath, your awareness, and your capacity to love. The breath reminds you that life is always now. It doesn't wait for you to be ready. It doesn't punish you for forgetting. With each inhale, it gives. With each exhale, it teaches surrender. If all you did today was breathe and pay attention, you would be more than enough. Then there is awareness, the silent witness behind all your experiences. It is not your thoughts, not your stories, not even your moods. It is the space in which all those things come and go. Like the sky that holds both storms and sunlight, awareness holds every emotion without resistance. And then there is love, not a love that demands or grasps, but a love that accepts. The kind of love that looks in the mirror and says, "I see you. Even in your doubt, even in your messiness, I love you still." When you begin to love yourself as you are, something profound shifts. You stop needing to be fixed. You stop needing others to fill a void. You realize you were never broken. You were only conditioned to believe you were not enough. Zen invites us to unlearn that story, to put it down like a heavy bag we've been carrying for far too long, and in its place, to pick up presence, stillness, acceptance. This doesn't mean giving up. It means letting go of the belief that peace lies anywhere other than here. And when you live like this, not in the past or the future, but in the gentle now, you discover something rare, a quiet joy. Not the high of success or the thrill of distraction, but the deep, grounded joy of being fully alive. Washing a cup becomes sacred. Walking down the street becomes a meditation. Listening to a friend becomes an act of love. You no longer rush through life, trying to get somewhere. You are already there. And from that place, you begin to live, not as someone trying to prove their worth, but as someone honoring their being. You begin to give, not because you lack, but because you overflow. You begin to create, not to impress, but to express. You begin to rest, not because you're lazy, but because you understand the wisdom in pausing. And from this stillness, everything becomes clearer. You begin to notice the beauty you used to miss, the way sunlight falls across your floor, the way your breath rises and falls without effort, the way silence is never empty, but full of life. You begin to sense that life is not something to conquer, but something to cooperate with. And you are not separate from it. You are it. In Zen, we say, the obstacle is the path. That means every struggle, every moment of doubt, every ache in the heart is not a sign of failure. It's a doorway, a gentle call to return, to breathe, to feel, to remember. The mind may want complexity, but the heart longs for simplicity. And in that simplicity, you find freedom. Freedom not from difficulty, but from identification with it. Freedom not from emotion, but from the belief that you are your emotions. You are not your fear. You are the one who sees it. You are not your anger. You are the space that holds it. You are not your loneliness. You are the love that meets it. And so the journey becomes not one of becoming, but of uncovering. Uncovering what has always been true, that you are whole, that you are enough, that you are deeply worthy of your own tenderness. And when you live from this knowing, you stop waiting for permission to rest. You stop apologizing for needing time. You stop justifying your boundaries. You start honoring your pace. You start listening to your needs. You start speaking to yourself with the same kindness you give to others. This is the essence of Zen, not complicated philosophy, but embodied presence. A presence that doesn't demand that you get rid of your pain, but invites you to sit with it, to listen to it, to learn from it, because even your suffering is trying to guide you home. Even your restlessness is trying to remind you that stillness is here. And so, slowly, moment by moment, breath by breath, you return to your breath, to your awareness, to your love. You return not because something is wrong, but because something is calling. And that call is sacred. Let yourself hear it. Let yourself follow it. Let yourself trust that you already have enough to begin again. Right here, right now, nothing more is needed. If this message brought you calm, this space is always here for you. Subscribe, return, and walk this quiet path with us, one breath at a time. Until next time, remember, you yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection.